Welcome to the Fail Forward podcast. The purpose of this podcast is change the negative stigma around failure into a positive. Failure is only a negative if we do not learn from it and we give up. Welcome back to the Fail Forward podcast. Today, I'm going to be talking about mental health and vulnerability. Suicide is one of the biggest killers in men in the UK, and that breaks my heart to think that that is one of the biggest killers for us as men, and I know mental health also affects women. And what I wanted to talk today about is my experience with mental health, my experience with vulnerability, and just a few of my own thoughts on how we might be able to solve some of this. So obviously when the business went under, I struggled with mental health and up to that, and I had some severe anxiety and some really dark thoughts, and I relapsed on addictions. I overdrank, I overate, and it was a really tough time for me. But one thing that I think I did pretty well is, and as you know, that I run this podcast, and everybody who knows me, I like to talk a lot, and I talk a lot, and I keep talking a lot, and I did that. So when the times were tough, I was talking to friends, my wife, family, and I kept talking about how I was feeling, the things that were happening, because when you talk about things, it really does lighten the load. But unfortunately, I know that's not easy for everybody. And I know that certainly for men, we're brought up to be strong, hard, sturdy men. And we can't be showing our feelings, and we've got to man up, and we've got to get on with it. And we've got to, show a sense of machoism, and we've got to show a certain way through school and upbringing. And it's the kind of old school way that men have been brought up, and the way we are. But I think the tide is changing slightly now, but there still is a stigma around being able to open up and talk about your feelings. I think social media has a big part to play in how a lot of us feel, and our anxiety and our mental health, because of everyone's living their best lives on social media. Everybody is only showing the happy times, the good times. I certainly know I do. If people probably look into my life now and they look through my social media, they probably think this guy's got his shit together. He's really happy. Look at how amazing his children are. His kids are happy all the time. Well, I can tell you now, my kids aren't happy all the time. Like, they are like any other children. They whinge and moan, and we have stressful times and emotional times. And personally, I don't always have all the answers, and I don't always am really self-confident. I'm constantly doubting myself and who I am, whether I'm on the right path, whether, this guy I've just seen on Facebook, but he's driving my dream car, or this other person in the property world. Or when I was at the APF show last weekend, I was seeing all these big amounts of kit. Oh, should I have that as a tree surgery business? And we're so influenced by everything else around us that can have a massive toll on our mental health. So one of the first things that I'm going to really try and give you a tip on is turn the news off, turn social media off. Yes, I still look at it. It's something I have to work on daily, but every time you turn the news on, it is bad news. Like, there's never any, oh, this lovely couple got married and they look at them and they've had this wonderful life. It is all like shit. Like, whether it's Brexit, Putin, whatever it is, like COVID, like, it just seems to be one thing after another. So the more you can filter out the news, the more you can filter out the social media. And just remember, everybody's on their own journey and own path in life, and we're all kind of where we should be. So actually, when you're looking at someone on social media, to have a think, is that really what their life's like? And try not to compare yourself with those people. So another thing, as I was just talking about before I went into the social media rant, it's just about being able to talk to people. I certainly know, and I hear it all the time. I've had some people around me who have committed suicide, and people say, oh, if only he talked to me, if only they just come out and talk to me, I could have helped them. But quite often people are in a dark place. They don't want to talk about their feelings. They're too upset. They don't know how to talk. They don't know who to talk to. And I think we as human race need to have our duty to ensure that we're checking in on our family and friends and the people that are close to us. Yes, we can't check in with everybody, and I'm not talking about commenting on a social media post or sending them a text message. When I mean checking in on people, it's physically picking the phone up and having a conversation. going and knocking on someone's door you haven't seen for a while, if you're worried about someone, the way that it was kind of dealt with when I was going through my tough times, it was like, come on, Henry, let's go out, let's just get absolutely smashed, like 3-day bender later. And actually what's happening is you're picking up more pieces after that because you've not slept well, you've overeaten, overdrank, you're feeling like crap, and then your mental health's 10 times worse. So actually, even though everyone that offered me that they were just trying to help because that's how best they knew to help, let's go out, get drunk, forget about your problems. Some people need more than that, and a lot of people need more than that. A conversation, a one-to-one, somewhere outside of a social environment, just to check in. And yes, you're not going to be able to solve all their problems, and I think as human beings we do this thing where we initially go into, I need to solve this person's problems. I do it all the time. Someone says, oh, I'm having a really tough time. And I'm thinking, right, how can I help them? How can I solve this? But actually, most people just want to be heard and just want someone to listen to them. And actually, when you let someone talk more and listen, actually, the more you listen, the more they'll unravel, and the more the lighter their load will be, and the more they'll talk, and their problems will feel lighter because they've managed to talk about it. One thing I've had to work hard on myself over the years is the whole thing of I've got 2 ears and 1 mouth, so I should use them proportionally, because I do like to talk and I do like to fill a empty space with talking. And now I'm having to retrain myself to listen more, because it's not all about me and talking, even though that's quite ironic, me talking about it and talking at you guys on this podcast. But I do have to listen more. And I think helping people that are struggling with mental health and difficult times is just being able to listen. And I think that's really important, to be able to support other people around you. I really, really want to try and help as many people not make that decision to commit suicide as possible. So I want everybody who's listening to this to share this episode, share everything I'm talking about, give me some feedback, because as I say, I'm still working on this all the time. I still struggle, even though it may seem from the outside I've got all my shit together. But I think I actually had someone message me the other day, so thank you, who had been watching this podcast, watching me on YouTube, and said, Henry, are you okay? Because you didn't look quite okay in that episode. And firstly, I thank them for that, because that means they really care. And for someone to message me that, I appreciate it. But yeah, sometimes I don't know everything, and sometimes I still running multiple businesses and have all the stresses, even though I've implemented the 4 pillars and all the things I talk about in this podcast. I still have days where I wake up and think, I'm not up for this. Like yesterday, I wasn't up for it. I had to do a webinar last night. I've got to come here today and record all day. I've got my PPN networking tonight. And it takes a lot to push yourself forward for that, and to be getting yourself in front of people and getting out your comfort zone. So it is good to talk. It is good to stop looking at social media so much and stop comparing yourself. And when I talk about mental health, I'm not talking about people that are just manically depressed. I think all of us have a challenge of managing our mental health day to day. And, I talked about before, your winning formula, doing things within your winning formula, finding out when things work for you really well. What happened that day? What did you do that day that makes you feel good? And what are things that don't make you feel so good? The things like I've noticed, social media, news, etc. They're the things that don't make me feel so good. Even like watching your favourite football team, if that makes you really depressed, like one of my best friends, he supports Villa, you'll know who I'm talking about. Like every time Villa would lose, that's it. He'd be depressed. That's his night over, day over. Bets thrown in the corner of the room, and that's it. Stomping home. Like if these things are like affecting your mental health, then it might be time to make those big decisions to move on from them. But in all seriousness, I do want to try and help as many people make the decision to live their life to the fullest and not take it early. So if you're listening to this and you're having a tough time and things aren't right in your life, whether it's me, whether it's family, whether it's friends, it's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to ask for help. That's the most important thing. Ask for help, go and talk. And you don't even have to ask for help. Just go and talk to people. Find that one person that you're really comfortable with talking to, and just talk. make sure you just talk and say, look, I just need someone to listen to me. And if anyone else has got someone coming to them and they're saying, I'm in a bad place, that's your turn to use your 2 ears and 1 mouth in that proportion and listen. So obviously offer support, big hugs. I'm a massive affectionate person. Hugging is huge for me. So just be there for people and help them out. So I really hope this episode has helped you and helped anyone else. And please, again, share it and reach out to me with any comments or anything you want to talk about with me. Thanks for listening. See you next time.